Hey guys, what's going on? My name is SENNA, and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. Today we have a new champion. We've been getting champions every single day for the upcoming set for Beyond the Bandlewood, I believe is the name. But today we got a new champion. We have SENNA today. Also, for any Veigar fans, a little more help for Veigar too, in the form of SENNA and some of the followers as well. So, very nice card. No new mechanics. Well, no new keyword. But yeah, Senna is revealed. She's a Shadow Isles champion, and she seems pretty decent. So, let's take a quick look at Senna instead of just rambling on. Okay, Senna. 5 mana 4/4, Shadow Isles champ with quick attack. Kindred says hello. Okay, kind of a not a bad stat line, very aggressive line of stats and keyword. I'm without even looking at without even looking at the rest of the card. I'm not a big fan of 5 mana 4/4s. I don't know, especially with Merciless Hunter being a thing. Before it was just Black Spear, now Merciless Hunter too. And yes, I know this is the old dies to Mystic Shot argument. Like now it's like dies to Merciless Hunter, but it is something to definitely consider. So what does Senna actually do besides be a 5 mana 4/4 with quick attack? Well, when I'm summoned or attack, create darkness in hand if you don't have one. Your damage and kill spells accelerate to fast. And then to level up, Senna needs to see you slay 3 units with spells, or an allied Lucian dies. I do like that it says like an allied Lucian and it doesn't specify exactly what kind of Lucian. So personally, I feel like this might be a hint, not necessarily to this set, but in the future set, maybe we'll get like a follower version of Lucian, just like we have a follower version of Senna in Demacia. And while he's not a champion in the game yet, he's a champion in League, and he has a follower version in the game already, Yone. So who knows? Maybe we'll get a follower Lucian in the game. But yeah, as for Senna, I like the card. Really, it's that last sentence. Your damage and kill spells accelerate to fast, which is why I like her. And yes, still, she is a little fragile at 4 health. I will say that, but being able to use your darkness at fast speed to try and protect her from a Merciless Hunter is really nice if you're able to get at least 1 damage buff on the darkness. Like turn 4 Veigar, turn 5 Senna, you have 3 spell mana, and then you play darkness to protect Senna from Merciless Hunter. And then you hope they don't have a combat trick, but they'll probably have a combat trick like Twin Disciplines or Sharpside or whatever, or even I guess Shapestoned. That's what you hope for in theory. But yeah, I like it. An extra way to make darkness cards, very nice. Obviously, pairs extremely well with Veigar. It seems like Veigar Senna is just like a nice like pre-built thing, pre-built kind of deck archetype that Riot's trying to push. But I do like that unlike other decks, it seems like you don't need Veigar for Senna. You can definitely just, in my opinion, play Senna in another deck that doesn't play Veigar. Like, I could see Senna Viego, Senna Targan. So like Aurelion Soul or Aphelios or something. I'm liking it. I like it. A lot of Targan's damage kill spells are slow too. So like Paddle Star, Sunburst, I think is the name. Skies Descend. And there's more, of course. But I like Senna. I really like changing the speed of spells too fast. That a lot of spells are just borderline good, and a lot of the time, myself included, and a lot of other people have said like, "Wow, this spell would be great if it was fast." The only thing holding it back is the slow speed. So Senna does help out with that a little bit. Sure, I know I'm gonna say it now. Like Ruination at fast speed. Wow. Like, I'm sure people will do that, but it's not terrible if you had to do it. But giving up the Senna is sad unless you, for some reason, have 12 mana and then play Ruination into Miscall, and that's a lot of work. But yeah, another card I've seen some people talking about is Go Hard. A lot of people are like, oh, wow, Go Hard should get a buff and be fast. I don't agree with that at all because I feel like, in my opinion, if Go Hard was fast, it'd be extremely strong. But yeah, turning Go Hard and Pack Your Bags into a fast spell is pretty strong, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little worried, though, because 4 health on a champion is a little light in terms of health. Sure, she does give you a darkness when she's summoned right away, if you don't have one, of course. And you can always pair her up with other regents for protection spells like Ionia for Twin Disciplines. You can also play Miscall as well in Shadow Wilds. There's always as well Rekindler and other such things. So sure, I'm a fan. I've seen also some people say like, oh, Spooky Karma with Senna instead of Thresh. The issue with that is you will summon Senna over Karma with your Rekindlers because Senna's a 4/4 and Karma is a 4/3. So, not a fan of that pairing, but maybe. Now, what does Senna do when she levels up? So, to level her up, you got to slay 3 units with spells or have an allied Lucian die, which I'll be honest with you, I don't think Senna Lucian deck's going to be good. Because, in my opinion, power leveling Senna's not that important. So what does Senna do when she levels up? She's pretty much the same card. She gets the +1/+1 like most champions get when they level up. She still creates darknesses the same exact way when you summon her or when she attacks. You can't have more than 1 darkness still. She still has quick attack, no new keywords. Your spells are now fast if they were slow before. But there's a little extra line of text, and that is those spells that are now fast also, besides being fast, now cost 1 less. And that's it. That's all Senna does when she levels up. Now you might say like, well, that's not really a big change when she levels up. And I agree that it's not a big change when she levels up, but I think that's fine because her level 1 form is already really good. That level 1 form is kind of like on the power level of some level 2 champions, in my opinion. Like, think about it. Generating what is in essence basically removal spells and completely changing the speed of certain cards is a very powerful effect. And that's why I'm fine with her level 2 form being a little underwhelming. In all honesty, the best thing about her becoming a level 2 card is she gets +1 health, really. And yes, I know, like, sure, the cost 1 less is nice, and then you can do some other ways to discount it by playing, like, I don't know, Glorious Revolution, Cloud Drinker, but I don't think making your spells extremely cheap is going to be a viable meta defining strategy. Maybe there will be some kind of infinite combo in the game that relies on leveling up Senna, but I'm not seeing it. And since you don't have to actually kill your opponent's stuff, because it is just slay 3 units with spells, you can also just use things like Glimpse or Go Hard or Vile Feast your own units. So there's also that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, like I don't think an infinite combo based around Senna is going to be a thing, or at least going to be very competitive. But while it's not a very competitive deck at the moment, we have seen some people doing infinite combo action decks, which are really annoying and aren't competitive viable because they kind of just fold to anything slightly aggressive. But who knows? Maybe Senna will do something. Anyway, her champion spell. Dawning Shadow. Dawning Shadow is a 7 mana slow spell. Kill an enemy and give all enemies -2/-0 this round. It's only a Senna card. And it kind of makes sense because it's her champion spell, but I will never, ever play this card in a deck if I'm not playing Senna. Why would I ever main deck this card when I have access to Vengeance. And before you say, oh, well, maybe as the 4th Vengeance. If I, for some reason, I'm in a meta where I want to play 4 Vengeances, I mean, we have Ruination anyway. But yeah, the only deck I could see myself main decking this in as like a 1 of or even a 2 of is a Senna deck. And even then, I'm not too excited by it. But it is a really good card for Senna. Like, basically, Vengeance, if you have a Senna on the field, that shrinks the rest of your enemy's board is pretty good. Like, this is a very, very good no kind of card. Like, your opponent's like, okay, let me attack in. And you're like, okay, Dawning Shadow, kill the biggest thing, and everything else gets shrunk, basically kind of pseudo healing you and giving you, like, let's say, I don't know, like your opponent has like 4 units on the field. You kill the big one, the other 3 get -2, -0. That's like a 6 health heal right there. Like, sure, you don't actually gain the 6 health, but you're preventing 6 damage. That's pretty big. And that, I assume, will not be too uncommon in a deck playing 3 Sennas. But yeah, I'm not expecting to see this card outside of Senna decks. So yeah, pretty sweet card, in all honesty. Like, again, I think this is what they are trying to do. It's at least in line with what they've been doing recently, and that is her champion spell is a spell that is pretty solid as a card, as a spell, but it's not a great main deckable spell. Like, it's a pretty solid card to play if you have a second copy of the champion, but I don't see myself playing it in my decks. Then again, like I said earlier, I could see myself playing this as a 1 of or a 2 of in a Senna deck as well, instead of a Vengeance. But again, I feel like I'd rather just play Vengeance anyway, even in those decks. Anyway, I'm rambling now about Senna. Overall thoughts on Senna. I think she's good. I really, really am a big, big fan of Senna. How would I build Senna at the moment? Really, it's just Senna Vhagar. Like, Senna, I will just go with what Riot seems to be pushing me towards, which is Senna Vhagar. Vhagar is a multi-region champ, so he can be a Shadow Isles champ technically, but I feel like I would also just like to play Bandle City anyway because of Dark Bulb Acolyte, the Twisted Catalyzer, the Robe Maker, Otterpuss for the pranks to try and buy some time. Hidden Pathways plus Glimpse seems like a pretty solid draw spell suite. So I like it. Big fan of that idea. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan. Definitely gonna try some Go Hard Senna as well. I really like that she doesn't seem to be locked to being paired with Vhagar. So that's a big, big good thing. I like it. It's a nice thing, in other words. Anyway, we still have 2 more cards. 2 more pages of cards. But yeah, another deck I could see is I'll talk more about it, but TF Senna Go Hard I could see also being a thing. So yeah, we'll talk more about that later, because I want to talk about it with the landmark that we'll see last on the next page. But yeah, first card here, Desinata. 8 mana 7/6. When I'm summoned, create darkness in hand if you don't have one. Your next darkness this round costs 0 and deals 2 to all enemies. Okay. It's a control card. Like, this is definitely no argument about it. This is definitely a control card. So, the way... I'm not sure if I'm reading this wrong, but... does this mean when you cast the next darkness, it'll obviously be 0 mana? That much easy to understand. Do you still target a unit? Like, let's say I have a darkness in hand that I buff twice, so it deals 4 damage already. Do I still have to target a unit? The darkness will deal 4 to it, and then 2 to everything else, including, I guess, the unit I target? That's how I'm looking at it. And I don't know. My issue is it's an 8 mana card, and sure, it's got a lot of stats, and that's a pretty solid effect. And this is a game-winning effect against like a go wide deck, but it comes down on turn 8. Like, this is not, in my opinion, like by turn 8, you're probably like the game's probably locked up. It's like either your opponent's won by turn 8 and the game's over before you even get to turn 8, or you're already stabilizing and pretty much like at a 90% chance to win. And in my opinion, I don't think I really need this in a darkness deck, because especially because in slower, more value control oriented matchups, I think this card's going to struggle to get some value. Like in those matchups, this card's just a big ball of stats, really. I guess you can also argue like, well, it does help Senna and Vhagar level up because Vhagar wants to see Darkness deal a lot of damage. So by dealing 2 to all enemies, that helps to really turbo level Vhagar, but I'm not sure this is the card that I like. Maybe as like a 1 of or a 2 of, but I don't know. I think it'll only be played in like any kind of like Vhagar Darkness decks as a 1 to 2 of, really. Anyway, next card, Piercing Darkness. 6 mana slow spell, drain 5 from a unit. Very simple spell. 5 damage is a lot of damage. Like 6 mana is also a lot of mana, don't get me wrong, but 5 damage kills a good chunk of played cards right now. But yes, I know it is expensive. The slow speed's definitely not helping, but I'm definitely considering this card for control decks, for Shadow Isles control decks. And especially in Senna decks, you can make it fast speed because of how she works. But yeah, I can see this. I can see myself playing this as a 1 to 2 of in the right Shadow Isles control deck and in the right meta. Sure, Grasp of the Undying is a similar card that it's 1 mana less and it's fast speed, and the trade-off is it does 2 less damage. But I don't know. I like it. I might play it as a 1 or a 2 of in the right meta for the right deck. Next card. I have no idea how to pronounce this word still. Buru? I've been saying Buru, but it could be Baru, but I'm still going to keep saying Buru until I hear something else. Buru Sentinel. 3 mana, 3/3, Fearsome. That alone is already a fine stat line. Not great. Like, I'm not going to play a 3 mana, 3/3 Fearsome, but the first time you slay a unit with a spell, grant me +2/+1. I feel like that is a good, like, in a vacuum, this card's good. It's a 3 mana 5/4 with Fearsome when it's active. That's pretty good stats for the cost. The only problem is, I think, like, what deck wants this? I don't think a control deck wants this because you're not really going to get enough value, because you don't really care about the offensive Fearsome keyword in a control deck. And for an aggro deck, this thing is just a little too slow, and the keyword's just, I think, a little too inconsistent to proc keyword, the text, the buff. There we go. Because I feel like an aggro deck wants to play things on 1 and 2, and then on 3. Like, you want to be playing units. You don't want to be taking a turn off to try and slay something with a spell. But yeah, I could see this in more of a, I don't know, a mid-range tempo deck. Maybe the Go Hard deck, like the Senna Go Hard deck, will play this. And now then, the next card, Demacian Sentinel. 1 mana, 1/2 Fearsome. Pretty much the same thing as, exactly the same line of text as the Buru Sentinel, whatever. First time you kill a unit with a spell, get +2/+1. Well, I assume it's slay. Like, they'll just reward that to slay anyway. I'm a little bit more of a fan of Demacian Sentinel over the Buru Sentinel because it comes down early. Compared to like Chip, though, this thing has to see you slay. Actually, I don't know. I assume with the way it's worded, only the first Sentinel will be a 3/3 when you slay. Like, let's say they have a 1/1, and then you have a Demacian Sentinel in hand. If I play a Go Hard on that 1/1 and then play a Demacian Sentinel, is my Demacian Sentinel a 3/3 or a 1/2? I'm not sure. If all of my Demacian Sentinels are getting the buff after I kill a unit with a spell, this card's great. If they all have to see you kill something with a spell, then it's a little bit less good, but I'm still a fan of it. Because unlike, say, Bark Beast, who, well, it doesn't see much play anymore, it used to see play, one of Bark Beast's weaknesses was it was able to get pinged down. That's one of the reasons why Bark Beast started to fall out of favor for and got replaced by the Bakai Reaper. So I think this card can see play. I like it a little bit more than Bark Beast, I'll say. Definitely better than Bark Beast. But I guess because it's, I don't know, maybe the buff is a little bit harder because you have the Butcher in Shadow Isles decks that would play Bark Beast, so I don't know. But I like the card. I'm a big fan of the card. Solid stat line, decent keyword, but again, what deck wants this? Probably, again, like I said, the Go Hard deck. Next card. This card's garbage in my opinion. I don't think it's garbage, but I'm not impressed by this card. Watcher on the Isles, 4 mana, 2/4. Each round, the first time you slay a unit with a spell, deal to the enemy nexus. I mean, it says kill a unit with a spell, but that's pretty much slay. I don't know. I'm not impressed by this card. Obligatory dies to Merciless Hunter. For a 4-drop, a 2/4 is not terrible, but it's a tempo loss in a deck that probably wants to be building tempo on turn 4, and that's a big tempo loss. And dealing 2 to the enemy nexus, like, sure, it helps you get a little bit of chip damage, but you're not affecting the board, and you want to affect the board, whether that's by getting a lot of tempo by just playing a lot of good curving out units that are just good stats for the cost with good keywords on curve, or trying to kill your opponents and affect the board by slowing them down. This does neither of them. And you might say, oh, well, how about a burn deck? I mean, between Phantom Prankster and Neverglade Collector, I don't think this card has a home in any kind of Shadow Isles burn deck, so I'm not sure. So I don't like it, but I could see it played in a decks that would also play Demacian Sentinel and Buru Sentinel. So maybe it's got a chance, but I'm not a fan. And now then, the last page. 4 more cards here. Mistkeeper. 5 mana, 3/4. Each round, the first time you kill a unit with a spell, summon an ephemeral Mistwraith. Mistwraiths are the 2/2s for 2 that when you summon them, they give every Mistwraith everywhere on your side +1/+0. Meh. I'm not a fan of it. Like, Mistwraith decks have never really been like the slay aggro style that Shadow Isles has been doing recently. They've been more of a just play a lot of fearsome kind of cards and attack in with your fearsomes a lot. That's how I've always seen Mistwraith's deck, and that's how they've always been. So yeah, I'm not a fan of this card. Even if you could trigger it reliably and get like a Mistwraith, say, like every round, or at least every round you attack, I'm not seeing that as a big payoff. It's a really expensive card. It's slow. You need some payoff. The Mistwraith itself is only ephemeral, so it's not even a big payoff. So I'm not a fan of this, but I don't know. Mistwraiths have kind of been in the dumpster recently, but I don't mind because Mistwraiths had their time where they were really annoying. But even in a standard traditional Mistwraith deck, I don't think this card's playable. So I don't really see this card seeing play in any deck. Now then, the next card, Ishtali Sentinel. 6 mana, 4/5, lifesteal. I already like that a lot. Poor Soul Gorger, 6 mana, 3/7 with lifesteal, and that's all he has. This card says, when I'm summoned, create a darkness in hand if you don't have one. When you play your next darkness this round, copy it, targeting the enemy nexus. I don't want to say power creep, but wow, Soul Gorger, you are looking terrible right now compared to this card. But again, who even plays Soul Gorger? A lot of people don't even know that's a card anymore. I like it. It's an extra way to generate darkness. The lifesteal keyword's really, really powerful. Helps you to stabilize against aggro decks. The The darkness hitting face 2 is basically doubling its damage in theory for a Vagar level up, so that helps to level up Vagar really quickly. So I like it. It's pretty sweet, and a little bit extra reach too was not a bad thing. So yeah, solid unit for a Vagar deck, I think. Definitely a 3 of, helps you to stabilize, helps you to get that Vagar level up and just close out the game. So big fan of this card. Definitely going to play it in my Vagar decks. And our last unit, Solari Sentinel. Very simple card. 3-mana, 3/2. When I'm summoned, create a darkness in hand if you don't have one. That's it. Okay. This is literally just Dark Bulb Acolyte, but it costs 1 more mana. It doesn't have Augment, but it gets +1/+0 for that 1 mana trade-off. So you're trading off Augment and 1 mana to get +1/+0. So yeah, this card, Dark Bulb Acolyte, this card, you are not. Still though, I think it's solid. I think it is a solid playmaker, not a playmaker, but it does its job. It has a job to do, that is create a darkness, and it does it fine. And here's the other reason I like it, and I'm a big fan of this card. I don't know if I would say fan, but a big reason why I think this card is a solid card. Up until this card, we haven't really had any good 3-drop for the darkness archetype yet. And yes, you could always say like, well, why not play something else that doesn't go in the archetype and help the archetype, like Shadow Assassin or Feyfolk if you're an Ionia. Of course, you're right. And like, again, some decks don't play 3-drops at all and just use turn 3 to play like a 2-drop and bank some mana. You can also do that. That's definitely fine. But this is nice to just help fill out the curve, smooth out the curve a bit. So I'm a big fan of it. Very solid card in general. And now the last card. Oh, this card. I don't know what to think about this card. Catalog of Regrets. 4 mana, round start. Create in hand a fleeting copy of a non-fleeting spell you cast last round. So spells only, doesn't hit units or landmarks or anything else. This is a huge tempo hit. The card this reminds me of, mostly because it's also 4 mana, it's a very, very value-oriented card, Veiled Temple. Veiled Temple was also a huge tempo hit, but it made up for its huge tempo hit by giving you mana and by buffing your unit by +1/+1, so you would get a nice beefy unit to try and hold the line against your opponent's aggression. And then they nerfed it, so it only gives +1/+0, and now you don't see that card played anymore. Again, like I said, I'm having such a hard time evaluating this card because I love the card personally. Personally, I'm a huge fan of this card because it's value. I love it. I assume though, if you play 2 spells, it's gonna choose the spell it will give you will be chosen randomly, so you won't be able to get to choose. So that's kind of sad. But I do like the idea of like bank 1 spell mana early, turn 4 catalog, play a go hard, and then you get a fleeting go hard on turn 5, which really helps get your go hards going. So I'm a fan of that. I like it. Honestly, I think this card is solid. I think I'm going to play it as like a 2 of in a TF Senna go hard deck. So, you know, pretty standard go hard deck. Like, think about it. TF Senna catalog, and then the rest of the deck can be like, I'll play like the Demacian and Buru Sentinel, and then the rest of the deck will be like standard cards like Fortune Croakers, Pool Sharks, Deck Hands, Zap, Make It Rain, some card draw like Glimpses and Salvages. Maybe throw in a Commander Ladros or 2 in there. I don't think I would throw in a Ladros, but I think that's a solid idea. So I like it. Gives you a little bit extra late game. Being able to get an extra salvage is nice. I like it. I'm a big fan of this card. So very nice. Anyway, though. Yeah, that is it. That is Senna. Very great champion. Lots of very valuable, high value cards here. A lot of people are saying, wow, control saved. I'll be honest with you. I'm tempering my hopes here. Yes, these cards are great for control. Yes, I'm happy that control's getting some new toys, but you know who else is getting new toys? Teemo Hexcore. And Hexcore loves seeing control. So I'm a little scared of that. But again, maybe it'll be decent with Senna being able to give your stuff fast speed. Like fast speed go hard. So we'll try it. I'll definitely try it. It does look fun. So I have high hopes for Senna. She seems strong. I'm scared she's a little bit too fragile though, so I'm a little bit worried about that, but maybe she'll work. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Maybe you think Senna is actually busted and needs a nerf. I would disagree. Maybe you think some of the cards I said are bad, like Mistkeepers is actually great, and I'm a dummy, according to you. I'd love to hear your opinions on these cards as well, and what kind of ideas you have as well for Senna, because I have a lot of ideas, and I'd like to get some more, because Senna is looking to be, alongside Vhagar, one of my favorite champs for this set to come out. Maybe Yuumi will be good too if we get Yuumi in the future. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below, of course. Always helps out the channel. And if you guys want to keep up with the Legends of Runeterra content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can always go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Zennaton. I stream there pretty much every single day. Yeah, so that's all for today's video. And I hope you all enjoyed it anyway. That all said and done. Thank you all again once more for watching the video. And talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.